In the first part of this series, I broke down the portrait digitally to show you exactly what I'm looking for in the structure. Now, in this video, I'm going to be drawing the structure directly onto the canvas. If you want to get my portrait blocking guide to follow along step by step and see everything that I'm referencing here, I'll leave the link in the description, and then you can watch along with the video and see all of these shapes in the guide. Now when I start drawing, I'm going to position the head and try to make sure that all these big shapes are going to fit in place. So I want to actually start with the position of the head, and I'll just use my hand as a guide here. So if I use my hand, I can estimate, again, thinking about the egg shape. So that's why I love the egg shape. It makes for a very useful reference when you're trying to imagine the placement of the head. So I can start even just sketching a little bit here. I'll be a little bit more harsh with my chalk just to make sure you guys can see it. Normally I wouldn't necessarily draw it quite this hard. At this point I'd go very, very soft so that I could barely even see it myself. But to make sure you can see it, I'm going to go a little bit more sharp. When I'm placing the egg here, I'm not making this into a big deal. I'm just trying to get a feel for how it's going to work. Do I have enough space around? If I start to maybe put in my line right here, I could think about if I'm going to have enough room for the entire head. Am I going to have room to put in a shoulder here and the neck here on the back side? So now I can start to sketch out a little bit of the neck. And let's just see, is this actually going to be able to work? So far I'm liking it. I think the placement makes sense. I should end up roughly with eye in the center. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with this area. I know eventually I'm going to be putting in the eye somewhere around there. I don't necessarily want it right at the halfway vertically, but thinking about the horizontal, I think that's going to make more sense. And maybe I could even just extend the head a little bit. Let's just get a little bit more size so I can take it slightly closer to the edge, give myself a little bit more room, and I'll try to notice some of the shape here a little bit more closely. I want to now start refining, since I think this is going to work roughly for the placement. Then I can start adding more detail and start paying more attention to the specific shape. I'll reiterate, this is a process here, so we're trying to make things easy on ourselves. I've never been the type to be able to just draw something really quick and just get it right away. So for me, developing a process to be able to go through and map everything out methodically, that's made a huge difference in my work. Then you're not dealing with so many little details. You don't have to be so precise. You're just trying to match shapes, and you can keep it very, very simple. So now I'll start refining a little bit of the neck here. Something very challenging about this, and generally with portraits that are so angled, is we tend to straighten them out. We try and actually make it look like it's upright. You probably can't see it, but I keep tilting my head, and I gotta fight myself here to stop doing that because it makes it more challenging than it needs to be. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just focus on these big shapes that I've already mapped out. And all I have to do is just make the shapes. So I've already done the work of simplifying things. Now it's just a question of mapping that out here on the canvas. I'll just call that good for now for the enveloping type stage. I don't want to do too much there and get into too many details because I need to start figuring out how the features are going to fit in and placing some of these big planes in the face. So I'll just start near the top here. I'm going to kind of map out the hairline. Then I can jump down to the brow line or the brow ridge and the eyes. So right here roughly is going to be the eye line. I think I made it a little bit more angled than it needs to be. So I just smooth it out a little bit, try and get a slightly softer angle. Same thing here with the hairline. Let's get slightly less angle. I've got a clean rag here, so I'll just clean up a couple of these marks that are a little bit messy. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the nose. So something I really like for the nose is to look at this distance right here and compare. Usually what happens is the same length that we get for the nose, going from the bottom of the nose to the top of the bridge, that same distance is usually going to be about the same as the forehead. So going from the eyebrows to the hairline, and also from the bottom of the nose down to the bottom of the chin. So that's a useful way to split the face into thirds. So I'll go ahead and measure this out. Keep in mind, I have just a little bit of gap here for the eyebrows. So if you imagine like right here is going to be my eye socket, that means really the top of my nose is kind of there. And then I'll be measuring. And all I have to do is just kind of shrink my fingers. I like to hold my fingers together, or if you want to be more precise, you could use something like your pencil or your chalk, and you can compare very directly. So I'd say roughly right there is where we're going to end up with the nose. And now let's see, okay, if we go up, where's the hairline? I love this type of measurement because it's completely comparative. So it depends entirely on your subject, and you're just comparing the length of their feature to the length of other features. That means you basically can't go wrong. As long as you're keeping that measurement consistent, you're going to get a very reliable result. And let me just double check with my reference. So maybe this could go just a hair up. What I'm finding with my reference is actually this goes maybe from the bottom of the nose all the way to the eyebrows, and that would take us a little bit past the hair. So you don't want to force your subject to fit. So just double check, make sure everything actually makes sense and lines up with what you're observing with your model. I'm doing something important off camera here, which is to take distance. So you also want to get back away from your painting or drawing, and that will make it easier to see if there are some big flaws that are really standing out. So now I'd like to start blocking in some of the features here. I'm going to start with the eye socket. So I want to start right over here. This is going to be very central, and it's going to help so the eye socket and the nose really work together a lot. So if I can just get some little indications in here that are going to help me to map these out, then they will work off of each other and really give me a lot of information quickly. Okay, next I'll do the other eye socket. I regret a little bit to erase the center line, so let's just draw a new one there, and let's see how this works out. It may not be exactly the same, but it's going to be very close, and it's going to help me to judge some of the spacing. So now I want to block in the nose, and I can use that center line to help by judging how much room I have on each side. Then I'll place the mouth. Another measurement I like is to go from the entire length of the nose. So from the bottom and all the way to the eyebrows. So from the bottom of the nose all the way to our brow ridge or eyebrow line. And then if I compare that, it's about the same as the distance from the eye line or the eye all the way down to the mouth. So right around here, I think is where I'm going to find my mouth. This is why I find these measurements so interesting, because a lot of times we get these kind of universal rules from person to person. And even though the shape of the nose might be very unique, even the length and the proportion and everything about the nose could be quite unique, these comparative measurements tend to work across many different subjects. And I've got a little guide on that. So if you guys are a part of my newsletter, or if you signed up for the Block-In guide, you will also get access to that. Now I want to put in the mouth section. So let's draw this diagonal for the smile line, and then our kind of beard shape here. We're going to draw this all the way down to the bottom of the chin, and I'll sharpen up the chin shape. You can draw out some more of the beard here, and we'll go over to the other side now. I can zoom in here to let you guys see what I'm thinking about. Now I want to get some of the spacing on the side of the head. So right now this has been pretty loosey-goosey over here. So I really want to sharpen that up and try and figure out what that shape looks like. One important thing I'm noticing is this kind of triangle right here. So that will tell me something important about the shape. It's really not far out from the nose. It's very close to the nose. So I want to use that as an indicator for my spacing. I know some of the mouth here is going to come out. So that's why I'm not connecting this straight down there. I'm actually cutting it short and connecting it up here, which is actually a little bit above our mouth line. Clean up the nose area just a little bit. I want to sharpen some of these lines now that I can see some things more clearly. This brow line could go up quite a bit. So let's get that up and match our eye socket shape accordingly. Okay, now I'll put in some of the structure here with the cheekbone and the eye. So the eye is inside the eye socket you see here. And then we get our diagonal line here going right through the mouth and kind of towards the center of the chin. Okay, then we get the zygomatic angle. So again, this is why I like this, because I can create my spacing and try and get a feel for, you know, how big is this little distance right here between this diagonal and this diagonal. And then I can start shaping some of the beard and jaw area. And again, what's so great is that I don't have to think a whole lot about the shape, because it's just a very simplified geometric shape. So I do still want to compare, of course, but what I'm saying is I don't need to put a whole lot of energy into that right now. I'm just trying to match the shape. And since I already have a shape to judge it based off of, it just makes things a lot easier. Just a little bit wider with the jaw. Things are really shaping up now. So now I want to get the ear in place. Something to consider with the ear is, what does it line up with? So I would like to think about it kind of diagonally. If I think about, okay, just keep drawing the eyebrow line across, that's roughly the top of the ear. You want to think about whatever is going to kind of line up. So the other place I could look is right about the bottom of the eye socket. I think that's where I'm going to find the bottom, keeping in mind the angle here. And then the neck is actually up behind the ear. So I need to move the neck quite a bit. Okay, and then I can clean up a little bit of the shape around the back side here. It looks like the head actually goes in and then out a little bit. So let's clean that up, clean up some of these initial lines from the envelope. I want to get some of the hairline in place, and to do that, I'm also going to consider the highlight here. So if you remember, I kind of blocked out this section in the forehead. This is going to be very useful for figuring out where my hairline is going to be, because now I can simplify these shapes again. This is a bit tricky because of the angle, but something I can do again is to compare where do I go, you know, horizontally and line up with something. And the ear almost gets us to this little corner at the top of the hairline. Right here is the part and the little transition we get there with the scalp. Okay, now I'll place the shadow here on the forehead. We can kind of clean up the edge over here as well while we're over here. Sharpen up a couple lines. And all I'm doing is just using my finger with the rag, trying to make the lines a bit thinner. That way I don't get lost when I'm painting, trying to make things much bigger than they really are. You see the width of the chalk here adds some size. And now I'll change this line. It looks like this should be closer to the mouth. And we'll just sketch out a couple of these big shapes down here. These don't need to be so precise. Nobody will really know the difference. I'll add the highlight here on the nose. Okay, and something important I forgot to show you guys is the mouth structure. So let's take a look at that. I need this angle right here. So let's put that in. I can also draw this little shape just to help separate some of the chin. Okay, and then here's the bottom of the lip. So I'll get the lower lip in place, and a very, very simplified structure for the upper lip. But something to consider here is that it's quite detailed. So I don't want to go too much into depth with the chalk because I can easily make a mess there. Something weird I'm noticing is I kind of messed up this area down here. I'm not sure exactly where I went astray. I think I got a little bit off base with the chin. So let's place the mouth. Let's double check some of our distances here. I'm gonna compare the nose just like this. So same kind of shape here. It looks like maybe we just need just a little bit more space on the bottom beard area, like down here. Sometimes this happens, especially with the 3/4 type of pose like this with such an extreme angle. The beard really gets elongated and kind of stretched in a way that you might not expect. So I think that's all that's happening, is that we just need a little bit more space down here. That will make the mouth not feel so awkward. It will give us room for some of these shapes. And then we can refine that chin shape again. And I think with that, we're just about golden. I think we need a little bit more space here now, since we're making the chin bigger, and a little bit more space on the jaw. All right, that's all the time that I have right now, so we're gonna call that good. But I need to check back in before I start painting, and that's something I recommend you do too. Don't just start painting right away and assume that everything is fine. Take advantage of the fact that you have fresh eyes, you have a new perspective, and try to refine it before you begin painting. That way it's also like a little warm up, so you'll be a little bit more ready, a little bit more acquainted with your subject before you start the first layer. With that, I'll see you in the next part where we're gonna start the first layer. Just a reminder, if you want my free portrait blocking guide, so you can have a strategic step-by-step approach to starting portraits, and my portrait proportions cheat sheet, just visit the link in the description. You can get both of those completely for free. You'll also get access to my subscribers vault, where you can see all of my other guides that I've made exclusively for my email subscribers. With that, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.